Minnesota Vikings are having their season ripped away, while the Dallas Cowboys can take the Vikings down to 500 with a win at US Bank Stadium on Thursday Night Football to kick off NFL Week 13. The Vikings have just one win in their last 6 games and have to try to upset a Cowboys team that has ripped off 10 straight victories. Dallas is laying road chalk at -3 early in the week. Both the Cowboys and Vikings are fortunate to be on a full week's rest for this Thursday Night Football matchup. The Dallas Cowboys have won 10 straight games, but they failed to cover last week for the first time since Week 1 in the Thanksgiving win over the Washington Redskins. The Cowboys have been the NFL's most impressive team this season, and they're doing it the old school way. The Cowboys have built from the offensive line out, and they very well could have the Rookie of the Year and the league MVP in 4th overall draft pick Ezekiel Elliott. Running behind the league's top offensive line, Elliott has rushed for 1,199 yards on 243 carries, and he has 11 touchdowns. Another rookie, Dak Prescott, has posted an 18-2 touchdown interception ratio with a 67.9% completion rate. He also has 5 rushing touchdowns. The Cowboys are doing all of this with minimal protection from Des Bryant, who has just 33 catches for 550 yards and 5 touchdowns. Dallas averages 6.2 yards per play, and they are 3rd in the NFL in points. As much as people talk about Dallas's run-heavy nature, they have only run the ball 21 more times than they have passed. Fortunately, the dominance of the Dallas offensive line and the efficiency of Dak Prescott have prevented the Cowboys' defense from being exposed. The Cowboys have allowed a 70.3% completion rate, which is the 2nd highest in the NFL. The Cowboys have only had 672 defensive snaps, which is tied for the 5th fewest in the NFL. They've given up 5.9 yards per play, but it has not come back to hurt them because the offense has stayed on the field and has been so productive. Dallas has only forced 10 takeaways this season as well. Bettors keep waiting for some of these things to regress to the mean, but it simply has not happened. The Minnesota Vikings started the season 5-0, but they are now 6-5 both straight up and against the spread. The schedule really softens up for Minnesota after this game, so if they can pull off the win, this could be a huge one for the home team. Minnesota has cracked the 21-point mark in just 1 of its last 6 games, so it's pretty easy to see why this team is struggling. As good as the Vikings defense is, they need some help and they are not getting it. With Norv Turner out of the picture, Pat Shurmur has adopted an offense that Sam Bradford is more comfortable with. However, it doesn't allow for big plays. The Vikings are tied for last place in the league with just 4.8 yards per play. Minnesota wide receivers average just 10 yards per catch, and the Vikings have only managed 2.8 yards per carry. Sam Bradford has a 12-3 touchdown interception ratio, but he's averaged 6.9 yards per attempt. The Vikings defense has done everything in its power to help the team win games, but it has not been enough lately. Minnesota is allowing just 4.9 yards per play and has 20 takeaways on the season. Only Philadelphia and Seattle have allowed fewer points, though they don't have anywhere near the same number of takeaways. Opposing teams are only completing 57.9% of their passes. The concern in this spot is that the Vikings have allowed 4.2 yards per carry on the ground. Everybody knows that Dallas can run the football, and Minnesota ranks 17th in yards per carry allowed. The line value catching that half point is significant anytime you can grab it, though it may not even come into play here. This will be a stiff test for that Dallas defense, and this is a game that could really turn things around for the Minnesota Vikings. It's fair to wonder whether or not Dallas can keep up its pace, especially against an opponent that can stack up physically against them. Don't be surprised if Dallas loses here, though it also would not be a big surprise if business continues as usual. But for our pick and prediction, we'll go with the Minnesota Vikings at +3 or +3.5.